Okay, it's 8 o'clock.
How are you doing?
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
Great to have you.大家好，那我们就现在8点钟了，我们就正式开始吧。有一些还不太熟悉我的朋友，我先自我介绍一下。我叫 Tina，我是 MacBee Mom 的创始人。在过去的6年中，通过我们的长期规划和培养，先后有上百名来自上海、大陆、香港、美国和新加坡的学生，顺利进入了美国的 A+ 级的顶级私校。我们也很自豪地宣布，我们创造了100%录取的奇迹。下面我先给大家分享一个 PowerPoint。稍等一下 ，I'm going to share my screen right now.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second. 能看到吗 ？Can you see? Okay, I'm going to present. 右边呢是部分我们学生被录取的学校的名单。2020年疫情爆发，我们新增了 MacBee Academy 线上课程的服务。我们严格的筛选老师，所有我们的老师都是有硕士及以上的学位，而且平均教龄超过20年。教授和私校以及纽约天才班同步的课程，很多学生都收到了很大的进步。在疫情期间学习受到影响的情况下，不但没有退步，反而有了很大的进步。那么今年呢，我们的学生还非常可喜的拿到了全美小学生辩论赛的金奖。那么 Horace Mann 呢是6年前我刚刚开始做教育咨询的时候访问的第一个学校。也是 Mr. Cadwell 安排的。我走在 Horace Mann 的校园里面，听到他们的学生 Teddy 给我介绍学校的学术、艺术、科技的方方面面，无论是在硬件上还是软件上，学校都是非常的一流。我想这个东岸的很多家长都非常的清楚。但是最震撼我的还是带我参观的学生。因为无论是从谈吐表达的逻辑性和条理性，还是知识面的广度来说，它都让我觉得，这个孩子真的是非常非常的出色和优秀。所以今天呢，我也非常高兴能够请到 Mr. Cadwell 亲自来给我们讲一讲顶级私校在寻找怎样的学生。Okay, everyone, my name is Tina. I'm the founder of MacBee Mom. Horace Mann is very special to me because 6 years ago, Mr. Cat will probably remember when I contacted you for tour the school. And so when I doing my tour, what impressed me is not just what you have as your hardware, your campus, and the achievement you have, but Teddy, my student guide. He is really impressed me by his public speaking, his knowledge, and his passion. So tonight, I'm really honored to have you here to tell us what are the top private schools are looking for. What characteristics are you looking for an applicant? Now I'm going to give the microphone to you.
Sure. And I'm sorry, Tina. I thought, did you want me to speak about Horace Mann first or start with the questions?
You can start first.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great. Tina, okay.
So I stopped the share now, right?
Yeah, you can stop sharing now. That's fine. And
Okay.
Tina, first, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm truly humbled that you would even do so. Thank you so much. And before I begin officially, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the times that we're living in right now to let you know that at Horace Mann, we discuss these issues very thoughtfully, in balanced and age-appropriate ways with our students as we cope with the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the epidemic of police brutality, anti-Asian violence, and systemic racism, the assault on voting rights, and an assault on the rights of women. It can be hard to turn on the news every day. One of the things that's kept me up, kept me energized throughout these last couple of years are the students I interact with at Horace Mann on a daily basis. Young people fighting for change, young people fighting to make their world a better place. No institution is perfect, but I love our kids. I love the leadership of our head of school who's empowered our students. I'm appreciative of our board. I'm appreciative of the administrative council that I sit on, that they all work tirelessly. That way we can remain open in person for instruction as we have for the last 2 years. So I hope that you're all hanging in there. I hope this is a lot of fun, and I hope this is a great distraction, and I'm going to answer some questions. But first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Horace Mann. My name is Jason Caldwell. I'm the Director of Admissions at Horace Mann. In addition to being the Director of Admissions, I'm an alum. I went to middle school and high school at Horace Mann. My brother went to middle school and high school at Horace Mann. My oldest daughter, she's in the 6th grade, and my youngest daughter, she's in the 1st grade. They both began in kindergarten at Horace Mann. I remember when my youngest daughter, Alexis, when she finished her 2nd day of school, she ran out of school and told me that Horace Mann is the best school ever, ever, ever. And she's never, ever leaving. So I'm glad that it's working out. She's been having a wonderful experience. You can probably tell that I really love the school. The best way to tell you about Horace Mann is to tell you what I love about the nursery, lower, middle, and upper schools at Horace Mann. So what makes Horace Mann a special place, in my opinion? One, the fact that we're able to balance an amazingly rich and rigorous academic program with a truly kind, caring, and diverse community. At the nursery division, our faculty are inspired by the Reggio Emilia approach. They often see themselves as researchers, watching intently as the children play. The faculty will document and decide what idea could potentially be the subject that would hold the interest of the children. And they use that idea, that theme, to build logic and literacy skills for the kids. I also love that at the nursery, whether it's sensory play or block building or loose parts manipulation or exploration of different art mediums or photography or symbolic play, the kids use all of these things to build their intellectual skills as they engage in research and delve into investigative and observational opportunities as well. I love that the kids at the nursery are as engaged on the rooftop deck as they are in music or in studio or doing their movement classes outside. I love the work that they do exploring different skin tones and exploring race in a thoughtful manner. I love that as we shift and think about the lower division, that we have the resources to really make lower division a pretty powerful place, that we have a lower division chorus and band, that we have a women in science and engineering program, that we have a fully integrated robotics program, chess for kindergartners, access to 3 athletic fields and a gym right on the lower division campus. Our students at the lower division also have access to the middle and upper division as well, including a $100 million science center, student center, and aquatic center. I love that the lower division, we put a lot of thought and care into the reading and writing program. We use Fontes and Pinnell leveled reading, and that has been pretty amazing these last couple of years. When I think about math, and this is something I think is a little bit more common now, but we are 10 years into this. We actually do Singapore math at Horace Mann, and I love that we focus on concepts. Thank you, Tina, I see you clapping. We focus on concepts and not just rote memorization. It's so funny. I take a look at both my daughters actually are really good at math. My little one especially, she's really, really good at math. But I take a look at my oldest daughter, and it really is amazing to see those math skills and her understanding of math. And that actually helps with science as well. And that's something that's important. When I think about science, I think about Katie Diaz, and we have an amazingly robust science curriculum at the lower division. It is really, really impressive, including a lot of different activities in our STEAM lab. Now, it used to be our STEM lab, it's now our STEAM lab. I like the fact that our kids at the lower division have quite a bit of independence. So kids in the lower division will have two master teachers in kindergarten, then a teacher and an assistant teacher, first, second, and third grade. Then in fourth and fifth grade, they start to departmentalize. So they have a different teacher for every one of the major subjects. Now they move along as a homeroom. So they don't have their own completely individual schedules. Each homeroom has their own schedule. But that is something that's really important and important to help them before they move along to the middle division. And for two reasons. One, in terms of executive functioning skills, helping them get that sort of independence, but also they feel like big kids. You know, in fourth and fifth grade, they have different teachers for different classes, and that gives them a sense of pride and once again makes them feel more mature. One of the highlights of Horace Mann in the Horace Mann lower division is our ruler program. The ruler program focuses on social emotional intelligence and development through the efforts of our head of school, Dr. Tom Kelly, and our lower division head, Dina Newworth. For the past 5 years, we've been in partnership with Mark Brackett and Yale University. So kids learn the language of communication, and they're aware of not only their own feelings, but the feelings of those around them, and they're able to communicate effectively. And that's something that's also been great. My daughter my oldest daughter has had 6 years of the ruler program at lower, and it is so amazing to watch her communicate. And it's something that's been pretty impressive. I love the fact that all of our students at Horace Mann benefit from the John Doerr Nature Laboratory. The John Doerr Nature Lab is a 300-acre nature lab in Washington Depot, Connecticut. It is amazing. Each student will have an opportunity to experience Doerr. And we're hoping that next year, as hopefully things continue to get better with the pandemic, that we are able to invite our enrolled families back up to Doerr. Typically, in a normal year, we have our Doerr family picnic where everyone, parents, family members are able to come up to Doerr, and it really is wonderful. Students have resumed going back to Doerr this year, though, so we're so excited. We just concluded our 7th grade programs, and we're beginning we concluded our 7th grade programs a couple of weeks ago. We're on now the 3rd group of 8th graders going up for their 10-day intensive, and that's something that is really, really cool. When I think about the middle division, I'm really energized by our middle division head, Javed Khan, also a Horace Mann alum. Mr. Khan is a member of the class of 1992. I've known Mr. Khan since I was 16 years old. His brother is in the class of 97, like myself, and his brother is one of my dearest friends. So Mr. Khan has been looking out for me since I was a little kid. So I'm really fortunate to know him. Before Mr. Khan was the head of the middle division at Horace Mann, he was the head of the middle division at Bank Street and the director of diversity at Poly Prep. One of the things that I love that Javed has done, he put all of our innovative centers into one central location. So our writing center, our math center, our academic center, our reading room, all in one place that we students, and right in a central location next to his office, all in a place where the students can get access to those things. He also put all the deans in one central location too. That way the students can have access to deans all in one central location. The deans at Horace Mann are truly amazing. Each dean will follow your student, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and every student has an advisor. The advisory program at Horace Mann, once again, not to beat a dead horse, really supportive, really supportive. You know, Horace Mann is one of the more rigorous schools in the nation. That said, it really is a school that focuses on community. It really is a school that makes sure we're focusing on the well-being of the kids. And that's something that's really, really important as well. Something that has been really, really cool, Mr. Khan has created an amazing assembly program. And I tell you, we're really privileged at HM to be given such amazing resources. First assembly in the middle division, Mr. Khan did something and pulled off something pretty amazing with the help of Horace Mann parents. We were able to invite George Takai to Horace Mann. Those of you that know, Mr. Takai is outspoken civil rights leader in terms of his outreach. He is an amazing, amazing voice for the LGBTQ plus community. He wrote an amazing graphic novel, They Call Us Enemy, talking about Japanese internment. And what was so amazing was everyone in the middle school read this book. Mr. Takai came to school, spoke to our kids. It was the first in-person event that he did since the start of the pandemic. It was amazing. It was incredible. It was so much fun. The kids loved it. My daughter came home, and my daughter doesn't know, my daughter's pretty much a Star Wars fan. She's not necessarily a Star Trek fan. So she didn't know him from Star Trek. She knew him from his civil rights activism. And she knew who he was because of that. She didn't know that he was Sulu. She knew him as an outspoken civil rights leader and author. So that was something that was really cool. The adults got a kick out of it, especially the ones that were Trekkies. At the middle school, we have a full-time student activities and service learning coordinator. This is something that's very important. And competitive sports begin in the 7th grade in middle school. That said, student government, which we call HM Lead, Model UN, debate, robotics, theater, orchestra, chorus, all begin right away in middle school. Okay, so that's something you should know. But competitive sports teams begin in 7th grade. Students have PE all throughout. I think, once again, when I think about what makes Horace Mann a special place, rigorous, a lot of work. That said, really, we care about the social emotional growth of the children. And that's something that Mr. Khan is focused on. I'm going to make a quick shift to the upper division. I think about Dr. Jessica Levenstein, the head of the high school. And, you know, the Science Center, Student Center, and Aquatic Center is 3 years old. We're going to the 4th year. And in the midst of the construction of this facility, which was no easy undertaking, Dr. Levenstein really led the high school through some significant innovation. In the midst of construction, she helped us make the transition from trimesters to semesters, and where we can spread out assessments a little bit more, reducing the stress on kids. You still get the same amount of assessments in a year, but you're not packing it in, right? You're not making, usually back in the day around this time, oh my goodness, teachers would be trying to get assessments in, ironically enough, to try to help kids, right? To try to raise a grade or give a kid another chance, but then they're piling on more work. Things are spread out now. So you're not doing that anymore. With the semesters, we're able to spread things out. We also made the transition from advanced placement courses to our own honors and advanced system, which is now effectively called the 400 level courses. There are a lot of colloquialisms at Horace Mann. So you'll find you're going to hear different terms thrown out as you might attend certain events. She continues to oversee a high school with an abundance of resources. And what do I mean by abundance? I mean 25 publications, 62 different sports teams, varsity, junior varsity, boys, girls, and co-ed, and 75 different clubs. Teachers, faculty members, administrators are the advisors to all these clubs. I'm actually the advisor to a club and podcast called Excelsior, which has gained in popularity. We're actually, so shameless plug, you can find us on Spotify or on Apple Music. Excelsior is a nerdcast, a nerd culture podcast that talks about things going on in the MCU, science fiction, comic books, literature, movies. It is a lot of fun. We just did an episode on Rick and Morty. Before that, we did a great episode on Squid Game. That was a lot of fun. And we really got deep into the issues, you know, in terms of what is it saying about socioeconomics? What is it saying about desperation? And by the way, great show. Oh my goodness, it was a lot of fun to talk about that with the kids and get into the deeper levels of that. I believe the next episode we're doing is Dune. So the kids are very, very excited. I think we're going to do Eternals after that. In terms of these advanced courses that replaced our APs, I'm going to give you a list of them. That way you kind of know, hey, what am I talking about, right? So we have seminar and literature studies, person's search for meaning. We have comparative race and ethnicity, which is a really popular class at HM. We have East Asian history, legal history, studies in French, studies in Spanish, calculus, enriched honors, molecular biology, evolution and ecology, molecular biology, cells and physiology, organic chemistry, physics with calculus, environmental science, the art of data. And oh my goodness, I actually sat in on a couple of classes of the art of data. The programming that these kids are doing is out of this world. It's incredible. And art history, what is a masterpiece? The dean's office in the high school is just as incredible as the dean's office in the middle school. And our advising program is also just as supportive. We also have something pretty unique. We have something called the Center for Community Values and Action. It is the administrative arm of how we engage in service learning all around the city. And don't get me wrong, students will also do service learning projects around the country, sometimes internationally. A young man, oh man, he graduated from Georgetown about 5 years ago. He helped build water cisterns in Cambodia. It was something that was really incredible. But just so you know, the majority of the work that we do through the CCVA, we do here in the Bronx. See, the Bronx is our home, and we take that very seriously. So a lot of the service work we do here in the Bronx. And our neighbors help us, and we help our neighbors, and that's important. Our teachers at Horace Mann are just incredible. When I watch the educational experience that my daughters are receiving, I'm really just in awe. Something that you should know, our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging work, something that's really important to us. Just like every other institution, Horace Mann has felt America's reckoning with race. I would say that for the last 10 to 12 years, HM has really been on the forefront of DEIB work. That said, the work never ends. It always evolves. We've partnered with Pollyanna, a diversity resource curriculum, nursery through 8th grade. We've begun an amazing monthly series on race in our high school, which is open to all Horace Mann teachers, parents, and high school students. We've instituted anti-bias training. We've expanded our work with the Yale Center for Social Emotional Intelligence to feature work in DEI. And we also have our historic seminar on identity courses, affectionately called SOY, in our 6th and 11th grades. In addition, we have special admissions programming specifically for families that identify as Black or Latinx. That said, those are open to anyone. And so at the end of the day, while we're looking at it through that lens, we open it up to everyone, and those conversations on Fridays would be great. Let me give you some technical aspects of the school, and then I'm going to address the questions that Tina gave me, and then open it up to any more questions that people might have. Technical aspects. Horace Mann is the biggest independent day school in the tri-state area. We have over 1,790 students in any given year, nursery through 12th grade. The last 2 years, we're happy to say, we've been exactly balanced in terms of boys and girls. And we actually have 2 students that officially identify as non-binary. In the nursery program, we have a threes program. We have a morning program, an afternoon program, and a full-time program. The sizes of the classes in the middle and upper division are 15 to 16 per class on average. And in grades 1 through 5, the average class size is about 20 kids per class. In kindergarten, it's about 18 to 19 kids in a class. 46% of our students identify as students of color. And our families come from over 150 different zip codes in the tri-state area. Technically, and I'm going to explain what I mean. Technically, 2% of our families identify as international. And why do I say technically? That number is probably closer to about 6 or 7%. And why? What we characterize as an international family is a family where the child is not an American citizen or green card holder. We have a number of American citizens who have lived abroad their entire lives before coming to New York and coming to Horace Mann, but they're American citizens, so they're not counted in that way. That said, we have a number of international students here. We know that people want to visit the campus. We are hoping that we'll be able to get back to business next fall and have all applicants visit. That said, in February, in March, admitted families will have the opportunity to come visit the campus. We're really excited. For those of you that might not be in the US right now, in the US, the Pfizer vaccine was actually just approved for ages 5 through 11. So when we return from the winter break, right now, all students 7th grade and up are vaccinated. When we return from the winter break, kindergartners through 6th graders will all be vaccinated as well. And so we'll be able to have more in-person events for families. That is all right now. Actually, wait, probably need to get into some technical stuff about testing. So in 3s and pre-K, we do not require any type of testing. Kindergarten and 1st grade, we ask that you do an assessment with an organization called First Look Insight. Okay, that is an online assessment. Exactly. Thank you, Tina, the FLI. 2nd through 4th grade, students are required to take the IC primary. And 5th through 11th grade applicants are going to be asked to take either the ISEE or SSAT. Now, here's the deal. The test, yes, it is important. That said, it has never been the most important part of our process. It really isn't. I got to be honest, the first thing we look at is going to be your transcript, grades, and actually the interview, the time you spend with us. We ask for recommendations for kids grades 6 and up. We ask for an essay and a list of extracurricular activities. All right. I'm going to take some questions, but before I take the questions, let me boil it down to this. What do I love about Horace Mann? I love the fact that 29 people that graduated from Horace Mann were at my wedding. 5 of them were in the wedding party. The friendships that you build at Horace Mann are friendships you're going to have for the rest of your life. When I take a look at both my daughters, they have built an amazing community around them, and they are very, very supportive. I'm very thankful for the village that they have around them. So we have a couple of questions. Tina, should I get into the questions right now?
I would just like to add one thing.
Please.
Right. So when you said, I'm sorry for the noise outside. So when you said 2% that are international, then to clarify, it's you issue I-20, right?
Oh, yes, we will help. We work with CVIS and we help families, all families, international, otherwise, students must live with their parents. So we do not do host programs. All right. So the first question we have here is, what are the most important keys in the application for a 1st through 4th grader? Let's really say 1st through 5th grader. Those grades are a little bit interesting only because we do admissions for those grades based upon attrition. So our big entry points are 3s, where we have 42 new kids. Pre-K, we have about 10 to 12 new kids. Kindergarten, 30 to 35 new kids. 6th grade is the biggest entry point. We actually have 50 to 55 new kids. 7th grade, 10 to 15, and 9th grade, about 40 new kids. In 1st through 5th grade, we might have maybe 2 or 3 1st graders, and the same thing for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So it is going to be a little bit interesting in that we need kids who are going to be, I'm not going to necessarily be extroverted, but kids that can advocate for themselves, kids that are going to feel comfortable asking for questions, kids that are really, able to make that social transition, because in that particular situation, unlike some of the other new grades, they might be one of the only new kids in their class. So we're looking also for kids that can make transitions pretty well as well. The second question, what does a model student look like for HM? Now, obviously, this is all age dependent, but I'm going to put this in something that I think works for all grades. 1, kids that are intellectually curious. I think kids that really want to learn and love learning, that's going to be important. Kids that can be good community members. I got to be honest, we look for good kids first. That's the main thing. We look for good kids. Kids whose parents are going to be communicative. Communication skills from parents, that matters. For the younger ages, kids that can handle transitions well. For the older ages, kids that have good executive functioning skills. Outside of those things, I gotta be honest, a lot of different types of kids here. There's no one way to do Horace Mann. I have two very different daughters. My brother and I were very, very different. I, at the time, loved science and I loved politics and I was a captain of the football team and I did theater. My brother, he at the time did not like politics, but he loved history and he danced and did basketball. I'm an educator and in my other world, I actually write screenplays and my brother is a prosecutor. So at the end of the day, two different paths. We're both pretty successful people. There are a number of different ways to do Horace Mann. What are the top characteristics you're looking for? I think I answered that question. How can teachers help kids develop their strength? Oh, wow. I'll talk about this just from a Horace Mann standpoint. I think by listening and getting to know the kids, we have the benefit of doing that. So once again, I think, yes, by challenging them, yes, by giving them work that's going to push them, but really by letting them know that they're seen and heard. I'll give you an example. My daughter in third grade, we do quite a bit of writing. My daughter, first essay she had to write, she decided to write an essay on Disney movies and why she thought there were some aspects of Disney movies that might be a little bit racist. So she picked out some themes in Lady and the Tramp. She picked out some themes from The Lion King, Princess and the Frog, Peter Pan. She put together this beautiful essay. It was all well done. The teacher checked off her thesis statement, her supporting statements, her conclusion statement. And then you know what she said? You forgot to talk about Dumbo. Right in that moment, the teacher saw my daughter and that encouraged my daughter. So I think, how do teachers help kids develop their strength? Through encouragement. And my daughter saw, oh, wow, my teacher got what I was writing and understood. And that's something that's great. I
can add on top of that because I judged one of the, I think it was like pre-pandemic, 2018 or 19, the FLL robotic competition.
Yes.
Oh my God. Horace Mann sent out 9 teams. It's like it's like from Horace Mann, all the other because you benefit being a big school so that you are able to support whatever the kids' strengths are and whatever their interests are.
100%. You know, sometimes people will say, and obviously right now I'm talking about the high school, but even middle school. So for instance, my daughter is in 6th grade, my oldest daughter. And we're a little bit iffy still about locker rooms outside of Horace Mann. She's a big competitive swimmer. So we're taking the second year off. She's going to go back to it next year and do the Horace Mann team. She's very excited about that. Anyway, we decided to do theater this year. She wanted to do theater. She was very, very excited about theater. And she's doing the play. And then she came to me and said, Daddy, I think I'm going to do the play again next semester. I don't think I'm going to do Model UN. I said, okay, that's absolutely fine. So then she came back to me the next day and she said, Daddy, I think I'm still trying to decide about Model UN. I said, it's okay, you got time. After talking to her advisor on the 3rd day, on the 4th day, she came back and said, you know, Dad, I'm doing Model UN. I said, oh, you're going to do Model UN instead of the play? She said, no, I'm doing Model UN and the play right now. So Horace Mann students go for it. And in middle school, they really do encourage the kids to try new things. And I got to say, my daughter's working hard, but she's doing really well. And she's keeping up with her studies and she's still doing Model UN and the play. And that's something that's great. How do families from more than 150 different zip codes connect and contribute to Horace Mann? 1, we have a very active PA. And 2, we're in the 3rd year of our Parent Institute, which has been absolutely amazing in terms of parent education. But more than that, pre-COVID, and we're hoping to get back to it. We had homecoming on campus this year, which was great. So that was our first big event. And it was only for 7th through 12th graders because they're vaccinated. That said, we have a lot of events on campus. So that brings families together. And as the father of a medium child, she's 11, and a younger child, yes, my daughter's friends are all over the tri-state area. So you take turns. Sometimes people come to us. We live here in Riverdale in the Bronx. Sometimes we go to them, whether it be the Upper East Side or Midtown or Mamaroneck or Jersey. So that's something that's important. And the community really is a community. I have to say, people at Horace Mann are really down, and we really work together. And that's something that's important. What percentage of the students are Asian? So about 10% of our population identifies as Asian. And as I said before, as a whole, 46% of our students identify as students of color, meaning Asian, Black, Hispanic, Latinx, multiracial, Native American, or Pacific Islander. What are the major weak points of applicants from China in order? Well, no, I don't. I gotta say, I really haven't seen that. We're very, very fortunate. Typically, the applicants that we have in the pool, whether they're from the US or from China, tend to be pretty strong applicants. That's what makes our job so hard, right? We're not able to accept everyone, and so we wind up having typically pretty big weight pools. That said, no, we've enjoyed our applicants from China. I can't say that our applicants from China, just like anyone, that would share any one weakness. It's no group of people are a monolith. Okay, so we have some more questions in the chat. I'm going to try to take those questions. Give me a second while I open up the chat.
Okay, I'll read for you.
You'll go? No problem. Yeah. You tell me what you want me to answer, Tina.
So I'll, in the order, it's a sent. The number one is, I think this was sent in 820. So could you, so for grade 1 to 2, the non-entry year, do you know the number of openings in February?
Not yet. We know that we are definitely going to have openings in 4th or 5th grade. We're probably looking at about 2 to 3 openings for 4th and 5th grade. For the other grades, not yet. We haven't really had any attrition, and we don't know of any families that are leaving in those grades as of yet.
Right. So I would just encourage you to apply if you are like in the because no one knows. No one knows. We don't know. Jason doesn't know.
100%. 100%. So just to give you a sense, last year we had 2 new kids join us in 1st, 3 new kids join us in 2nd, similar for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And we filled those spots. Some of them filled in February when all families start to find out. Others, the last spot I filled was in July. So the point is, for those grades, it really does depend. We're going to be looking at completed applications first. And hey, if we email you or call you to schedule you for an interview, obviously right now applications are still being complete, but past January, everything's going to be available in terms of your grades, recommendations, stuff like that. You want to have your application as complete as possible.
Yeah, you have to submit the application in order to be considered, right?
100%. 100%.
And I remember last year during the COVID, really in the summer, in July or August, one of our parents said, I got a call from Horace Mann. I said, really?
And that's my point. And that's my point.
Parents move, right? Family, they move any time of the year. So next, it's asking about scholarship. Does Horace Mann offer merit-based scholarship?
No, at this point, we offer need-based financially.
Okay, and the next one is so 5th grade. Okay, you already covered that, the spots. Okay. 5th grade. And so the openings you have for the 9th grade, that's the entry.
Oh, sure. In any given year, we have about 35 to 40 spaces in 9th grade. Last couple of years has really been about 40. Mm-hmm. 9th grade is probably the most competitive entry point. All the entry points are competitive. 9th grade, though, it's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah, so that's why I always say apply early, because you don't want to get to that 9th grade. Everyone is applying.
9th grade is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Now, time out. The experience of ninth grade once you're here is wonderful.
Oh, right.
Well, that's the kids really work throughout the school, nursery through 12. While a rigorous education is pretty collaborative, the kids really do work pretty well together. So they're not competing against one another. They pretty much look out for each other. But yeah, the admissions process is competitive stuff.
Right. We have to when we work with kids in ninth grade, you really have to be really has a strong profile in order to get in, because we look at many we work with many families and really know they really work hard or admit
It's hard, yeah.
What else? The next one is so how do students commute from the Tri-State area? Does the school bus?
So we work with an organization actually called Selby. We used to work with Supertrans and Selby. Selby and Supertrans recently merged. So Selby is our primary bus provider. Some locations in Westchester, and depending on the route that you're in the Bronx, are offered by the DOE's, Department of Education's, of those areas. And they also work with us to bus students. The majority of our kids will use the bus service, once again, that we contract with. So we use an independent contractor. Bus service is typically offered or can be offered to people living in a lot of places in Jersey, mostly northern Jersey, parts of Westchester, Bronx, Manhattan, Connecticut. Unfortunately, we do not offer bus service to Queens, Long Island, or Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's a very quick ride. It's from Upper East. It's
depending on where you live. So it depends. Once again, it depends on where you live. The ride is going to be longer from the Lower East Side or Tribeca than it will be from the Upper West Side or Upper East Side. So once again, it depends on where you live.
Mm-hmm. And also the next question. So my son is currently 4th grade in New York and planning for 6th grade. When should we apply?
So here's the thing. It all depends on how your son is feeling about his school. You know, that's an interesting age, right? Here's the thing. For 9th graders applying, all things being equal, it's going to be the child bearing the brunt of that decision. They're going to be the one, for the most part, making the decision. Kindergarten, nursery school, it's the parent. It's you guys. It's going to be you making the decision. For middle school, it really is a 50-50. And so if your child is in 4th grade right now, and they're feeling really good about it, and a lot of schools in lower school, in 5th grade, if they want to finish it out with their friends, they want to make that transition along with everyone else, I would say go ahead, let them do that. If your child already is expressing that they want more, or they want to really explore it, yes, while we might only take about 2 or 3 kids, give it a try. All we can do is say no. And typically we run into amazing applicants in the 5th grade pool that we're not able to accept because of space. We see them in the 6th grade pool and allow them to get in because they were great kids to begin with. We just didn't have the space.
The next is, okay, so you already answered it, apply for 5th grade, even though, yes, so it's a yes, apply for 5th grade. If maybe let me know if I understand it's correct. So if you feel bored at a school, like not challenging enough.
I think so, right. If the student is no longer feeling like academically that school is a fit for them and they want more, I would say give it a try now. If they're feeling good about their educational experience, but also their social experience with their friends, and they want to do Horace Mann, they can apply for 6th grade. That's the biggest entry point anyway.
Mm-hmm. The next, okay, our youngest for the nursery school. What kind of family education domain area are you looking for? I'm not sure what you mean. Tracy?
Maybe what kind of families are we looking for?
Education domain. If you are here, Tracy, if you're here, can you please unmute?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so I mean, like what kind of families you are looking for?
Oh,
like the
sure.
background of the families. I know, like
Oh,
especially for nursery, like family might be more
oh,
play
sure.
more roles
Yeah.
there.
Well, just like I said earlier, all different types of families. There's no one type of family that we look for. Like I said, the biggest advice I can give families coming into the school, and this is nursery through 12th grade, but especially nursery, right? Communication. Families that are going to communicate with us, families that are going to be good partners with us. I always like to say, if you, for nursery, right? So let's say you start at threes. That means you're going to be with us for 15 years. If you don't think at some point over the course of 15 years, your kid is not going to have a bad day or going to have, we want people that we can work with through those. And people that are going to be able to, yes, might be some tears, but there'll be a lot of laughter too and a lot of figuring it out. And that's something that's important. So no, families are going to communicate with us, and we have a lot of different types of families. You don't have to be one way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
And the next from Jesse, do you consider extracurricular activities one of the essential elements?
Oh, totally. For grade 6 and up, yes. It's one of the 6 pieces that we look at. We actually ask for a list of extracurricular activities, and we're not counting. That's not the point. So it's not about quantity, all right? It's about what does your child enjoy? And that's something that's really, really important. So I take a look, my older daughter, she's involved in a million different things right now. My younger daughter, she does ballet. She does her Women in Science program. And you know what? She loves both. And that's okay. I don't need to keep piling things on. At the end of the day, all that matters is that your child enjoys what they're doing.
Also, it's the child, they have the drive, self-driven. They want to do that. They have passion in that.
When I think about my 6th grader, she's the one that came to me and said, Daddy, I want to do the play. She's the one that came and said, Daddy, I want to do modeling. And I said, okay, it's my job to pick her up.
Thank you. It's great to have you from the alumni perspective and the parent perspective and the admissions perspective.
And Tina, once again, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you extending the invitation. And this was wonderful. Thank you so much. Wait, I think we have one more question.
Oh, okay. How long is their day? Oh, this is very practical question.
This is great. Oh, 100%. So in middle school, the day, it's most kids in their day at middle school at 3:15. So the day begins at 8:25. We have 2 academic periods, and then they meet with their advisory or homeroom. Then there's 6 more academic periods, including lunch and PE. We also have extra help periods that are assigned and study hall periods that are assigned in middle school. At 3:15, that's when theater begins. That's when robotics begin, Model UN, stuff like that, and also our STEPS program, which is our student of color mentoring program. Those activities tend to end between 5:30 and 5:45. For kids that might not want to do that and might want to use our academic center to do some work in a nice, controlled, structured environment, they can do that. Or they can go to the not so structured environment as the middle school reading room. And that's a place where you can have a snack, read with friends, hang out a little bit, do work in a little bit more of a leisurely place. So one place is a place where you can do your homework and kind of talk. The academic center is a little bit more of a serious place for you to do your work. So that ends around 5:45. For kids that are doing sports in 7th and 8th grade, sports practices take place during the child's PE period, but the sports games do take place after school.
Okay, so we're going to take the last 3 more questions.
Got it.
I think that will be in time. How do you? Oh, that's a good one. How do you support differentiated teaching?
Oh, not a problem. So it's so funny. In the lower division, once again, the Francis Pinel level reading program works with kids, for instance, right where they are, and meets the kids where they are in terms of their levels of reading. So kids that are a little bit more advanced readers, they're going to be doing some more advanced work. Kids that might need a little bit of help, they do that, and they do have support in those in the lower division in terms of reading. By the time you get to the middle division, that's when we start to officially, quote unquote, accelerate students. So that's where you're going to see things like honors math or kids being moved up to a different or higher level world language course. English, history, and science are all the same level until you get to the 11th grade. And then once again, that's when you start to see kids accelerated and accelerated upward. But once again, there's learning support for kids that might ever need that. We have great learning support teams in every single division at Horace Mann.
Oh, and also, could you share a bit about Women in Science program? I think this is for older.
Oh, so I am completely biased because my older daughter went through the program and my younger daughter is doing it right now. And she's so excited because last year it was remote. So the Women in Science and Engineering program was designed 7 years ago because what we wanted to do is, let's put it this way, we understand, unfortunately, there is still a lack in terms of numbers of women engaging in engineering and science fields. What we were starting to see was a lack of numbers in enrollment in our advanced science courses. So the administration, in addition to Dina Newworth, Dr. Kelly, Katie Diaz, created the Women in Science and Engineering program to make sure we were encouraging and fostering the idea that science is for everyone, for our young girls right in an early age. And this starts at kindergarten. It has been exceptional. Now, once again, it still comes down to choice, right? I take a look at my daughter. Science is one of those subjects that she pretty much gets straight A's in. Now, it just so happens now her favorite subject is history. That said, she still does very well in science, right? And it's not that she veered away from, she has actually veered away from science. She loves studying it, but she's just found her passion in history. And that can still change. She's in sixth grade. Who knows what she's gonna like to do in 3 or 4 years. But she has a confidence in science. She has a confidence in that. And the Women in Science and Engineering program has been amazing for that.
Okay. What else do we have? Let me see. For different students, potentially at different levels. Oh, yes, that's the previous question. So the last question, do you expect the applicants' extracurricular activities to be in a skillful level or even at a professional level? Let me rephrase it.
Sure.
I think, do you expect the applicant at a competitive level when they apply?
In terms of their extracurricular activities?
Yeah, like so if you play hockey, you're in a hockey team, you're in a baseball team.
No, we just want you to love it. We just want you to love it. Now, don't get me wrong. We have some students that come in with some amazing talents, but no. It's that you love it. You know, at the end of the day, it's not like, you know, we would, so let's say my daughter was an applicant. It's not like they'd be looking at her swim score times and, you know, okay, that's it. No, it's just that she loves swimming, you know. No, don't get me wrong. We have some students that, once again, they come in with those skills, but you don't have to.
Thank you. And one of my takeaways that because I am familiar with the ruler system, from Yale. I think, especially right now, after the pandemic, 2 years into it, the children's social and emotional health well-being, it's really important. And the Horace Mann is doing a wonderful job of supporting that.
We're certainly trying. We're doing our best. Tina, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Caldwell.
You have a great day. Everyone, thank you so much for your time, wherever you might be.
And I will have last PowerPoint to share.
Okay.
Wait. Okay, so I want to make an announcement for tomorrow night. So today we have Horace Mann. It's a co-ed, the largest day school, and tomorrow it's an all-girls school. And they have some Chinese students sharing, and it's a boarding school. So if you have a girl and maybe thinking about whether we should go boarding or not, or co-ed or girls, I would encourage you to join us tomorrow. And you can scan the QR code to register. It's tomorrow, 7 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. if you are West Coast. And if you are in China or Singapore or Hong Kong, it's your 8 a.m. in the morning. And last, you can find us by scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation with us. And you can also find our website. Thank you very much for joining at this night. And Ms. Cowell, really appreciate it. I know your throat. You must speak so much recently.
Don't worry about it. I'm going to get some water with lemon. We're going to be good. Thank you so much.
Jason. Thank you, Tina. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank
nice
you
day.
so much. Yeah.